So in this session, I'm going to talk about broadcast journalism, television unit. We discussed about radio the other day, and this is again going to give you an overview about how television started abroad, how television came to India, little brief about the history, what kind of television exists in India, and then a little bit about the television news production part. Television is a system of converting visual images with sound into electrical signals, transmitting them and displaying them electronically on a screen. That's the basic process that the system of television follows. What it does is it takes visual images, sound-based visual images, and converts them into electronic signals. And then it transmits them, which in turn allows you, the transmission process allows you to get visual feed on your screen. It has become a very intrinsic part of our life and has established its own importance, and it has a larger role to play in mass communication. In compared to other parts of the world, TV started quite late in India. And, before we get into the history of television in India, we need to have a basic understanding of how it started. The first transmission of television experimentally started in 1920 in the US. So uh, when you look at television history in general across the world, um, especially when it started out the States, there's a lot of experiments that are going on. And with a lot of those experiments, the first transmission came out in 1920. But due to underdeveloped technology those days, the picture was hazy, it was not clear. In the next 5 years, many more new inventions came up, like color video, electronic camera, and a television set. Finally, a device came up called as a television set that could convert the transmitted electronic signals and convert them into visual fields. In 1930, a television station started in New York, in England. BBC started its own TV station. So by 1930, one in New York and one in London started up. And then there was a halt, and whatever experiments were happening or a little bit of establishment that happened only from a military point of view, whatever they could get, get access to. And then the World War broke off. So only after Second World War, the TV station started working and functioning in Western countries with widespread transmission. In 1948, there were 48 TV stations in 25 cities in the USA, and they had 2 lakh TV sets in a period of 10 years. In the subsequent years, around 19, between mid 1940s to 60s, there was sort of a television consumption boom that happened. Around 5 to 8 TV stations came into existence in Canada, Japan, and other European countries, which also saw many technical advances in terms of the design, in terms of the ergonomics, in terms of the process of transmission, so on and so forth. India received its first bunch of television sets at the end of 1969 with the help of UNESCO. UNESCO, those of you are familiar with, is called United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, and it's one of the significant Indian bodies which works in the sector of culture. This was an initiative of the government of India. A developing country like India had difficulty in expensive electronic items where users rated many questions. But whether it is for public consumption, whether it is going to be a government instrument, and it could only be from used by the government in transmitting certain kind of content to a select audience. It was also felt that the items like TV will take us far away from cultures. That India has many cultures, not just one. So in the initial phase, that was the nature of questions that were raised. But manufacturers, business communities, and education institutions demanded to have it because they eventually realized the benefit, that what this particular instrument could do in transmitting messages far and wide with the people. UNESCO donated $20,000 for having television sets in community centers in India, and we are talking about onset of this decade. In 1961, UNESCO conducted a study on effect of television programs in India, largely on the Indian population. The report was encouraging, and in the same year, television, school television programs started. School teachers in Delhi were trained with the help of television programs. Those people who had a little bit of technical understanding of television programming were trained abroad. They came to the help of school teachers to set up the first educational television program. And this helped those schools who had no organized science labs. How do we conduct those kind of experiments, or how we transmit from one group to another? In India, the TV viewership slowly increased. An entertainment program was started on 1965. It was transmitted, which was initially for 1 hour daily and included some news items. That's how it started off very humbly. In 1967, the first agricultural television program called Krishi Darshan was transmitted. Delhi, UP, Haryana, with in 180 rural centers. There were 180 rural centers which had access to television sets and television programs like the Krishi Darshan started up. The program was liked by farmers all around. In 1970, 20,000 television sets were imported. In 1975, this number increased to more than 1 lakh. Tata, Madras, Lucknow established in 1973. So this is, when you look at the timeline of how television came to India, these are the important junctures, or these are the important landmark moments in history. When we look back at the history of television in India, these are the key years or the key incidents that catapulted. We look at the historical progress or historic progress of a particular technology in a country. Modernized TV sets were available in India, and by 1976, the TV world in India got a new name called Durga. Almost 63%, whatever the population of India at that point in time was, 63% of the population would have access to television content. It means owning television sets, but they could start off as a communitarian unit and communitarian engagement or a practice to travel to and the rural center we can have access to program. So key things to remember is in 1976, Durga was part of 1967, the first agricultural television program called Kushila. One of the most landmark moments in Indian television history is the SITE project, called Satellite Instructional Television Experiment. In 1976, UNESCO conducted an experiment on satellite communication in India. It was not started off as just as a television experiment. It was more to do with satellite communication, and television happened to be the device or the instrument that was used to kind of gaze into the communication process. The success of satellite instruction television experiment or SITE proved that television transmission would be possible and useful in India. To find the feasibility of television in India, ISRO, that is the Indian Space Research Organization, with the help of NASA, started this experiment. On 1st August 1975 to 31 June 1976, a NASA satellite named APS-6 was spun above India for a year. So that satellite transmission was possible and the satellite communication was possible. Remember this, 1975-76 was when the SITE project was launched, and it continued for almost a year, 10 months almost. And the NASA satellite, that is APS-6, those who are freezers over here, they would know, or it is important in general for you that you know that the name of the satellite. This experiment was not only a success in India, but also was appreciated across the world. Remember, parallelly across the world, other kind of experiments that were happening. This sort of a project could only give some sort of a reference to other countries and other nations. So do similar experiments of research, you know, technological powerhouses like to help them or support them, guide them in this kind of advancement. It's provided that this proved that India was quite appropriate for Philippine transport. It was established, it was right for it was established. And this sort of the joint venture between the two countries, and there are some objectives that were drawn out from that. So one is general objective, another is specific objective. Let's look at what are the side projects. First was to study the potential of satellite technology in mass communication in developing countries. So India was a developing country and continues to be one. It became a good site for this kind of an experiment. So to kind of locate the potential of satellite technology and how it could be used in mass communication. Second is to encourage national development in India by encouraging economic sourcing technology. When we look at the marriage between economic sourcing and technological aspects, those are the key factors that can contribute to the overall development of the nation. So how how television or the satellite project could work in this area. And third point, the general objective is to train the rural viewers in communal harmony, family planning, and education. So since we were just slowly doing the steps from being an agrarian economy to an industrial one, uh, agriculture was still, a primary preoccupation, and in order to help people understand more better technological nuances of farming techniques and production, people need to be trained. The rural community needs to be trained in that. So agriculture is an important area. In communal harmony and family planning, something that would have a larger sociological impact or social impact, and could benefit, the communities that we live. Next is the specific objective. First one is to promote general and adult education for satellite technology, because that was the technology that was used in that project using television as an instrument. But how do we generally raise the bar of education in India, and especially focusing on adult education, general education. Then to develop individual skills. Okay. But how do we use television as a tool to enhance our knowledge base, to have better cognitive abilities, um, and how that could, help better our potential as individuals and improve health and hygiene. Okay, so offering information which is crucial related to healthcare and hygiene. Third specific objective is to gain experience in all technical aspects, including television programs and broadcasting. That would be largely for the technical experts, those people who want to production, those who want to learn television, those who want to get into programming, production and transmission, or exhibition of programs and content. So those are the general and specific objectives that were laid out for the site project. For the first time, educational programs were beamed through satellite in India. Programs were shown in 2,400 villages in 20 districts of 15 Indian states. Bihar, Odisha, Karnataka. So also understand why this cluster was created, why of all whatever 20 odd states at that point in time were there, why these places were picked up. These places, these particular states were picked up for programming because they were the most underdeveloped one, and they required that sort of a space, both in terms of how we look at the social structure, how we look at economic structure. So these states were selected, and there were 2,400 villages. According to the 1971 census of India, the states having the most number of backward districts in India. These are the places back in the day which have backward districts. The transmitted program were mostly of two categories. One was education TV, instructional TV, that is IT. And let's look at what is BCTV. Main purpose of these programs was to educate the rural mass. Remember that these experiments are not happening in places where people are familiar with the technology like you are now. These are people who come from the most backward parts of the country and mostly, uneducated or illiterate. The primary idea was to educate them through television. The educational programs were prepared by students of school and colleges, which could be attractive and creative, that could hold the interest of a larger population. The daily programs included education, agriculture, family planning, health work, education. Every day 4 hours of thinking is to be, and then there was task in this rural pockets of India, wherever there was television centers, you could come and educate them to inform of how this kind of content to help them in better knowledge. Instructional programs are basically meant for illiterate and elderly people. So that was about ETV. In ITV, it was mostly to do with adult literacy. They were broadcast for 2.5 hours, maybe evening. It was daytime, everybody was busy with that, whatever occupational work. Only in the evenings, the programs were created and designed and executed during that time. But the programs were related to health, education, hygiene, agricultural practices, and important national. Because nation building was simultaneously happening simultaneously. We were talking about a period when India was slowly 30 years almost into independence, and India was slowly kind of holding on to a certain track. At that point in time, in celebrating important national events or to emphasize on important national events, appreciate. Apart from that, focus was on health, education, people practices. These programs were transmitted in four languages, that is Hindi, Odia, Telugu, and Kannada. In addition to this, a Hindi news bulletin of 30 minutes duration was being transmitted. Now, which later on became a practice. Hindi news bulletin of 30 minutes continued. And, it continued for almost 2.5 decades. Like I remember growing up in the early 90s, this was a practice by the Doorbell. So once a day in the evening, 30 minutes news bulletin from Hindi, and one reader every day. They would give you an overview of everything that has happened in the last 24 hours. It is summing up or giving a glossary of the events that have happened at National. Okay, a little bit about the types of television that exist. Apart from the satellite and general experience. Gradually, what happened is cable television transmission community. This was in early 1990s. Cable television brought an undeniable change in Indian television. This change, I can say this with a lot of clarity because I was I was the first generation consumer. I didn't buy one, but luckily my grandparents at that point in time to the a television set, and I have grown up watching the earliest content on cable television. So there's a slight shift in terms of programming and content when we look at Doordarshan and what cable television did. So how this would work? Earlier, cable television was telecasting only in Mumbai, but later became popular even in small towns. TV transmission was provided in the viewer's house through a cable connected to a general antenna. So those of you are familiar, or if you can ask your parents how they would have, a lot of memories to add on to that house. We would go into the rooftop and try to adjust the antenna so that the signal comes here, and then we could watch whatever. The antenna is placed towards the direction in which the signals are being used. Okay, there would be somebody downstairs who would respond to how whether it is coming or not coming. And as kids, it was fascinating to see how this entire process Cable television operators set up a control room in one place and through wires the cable connection to viewers television provided television signal. If you took the licenses of trying to connect us through the cable connection with the cable TV operator, and they will transmit programs, movies, serials, music according to the demand of the viewer. Sometimes, like for example, you want to watch a film, you would go to the local cable operator who has taken our contract and say that this Sunday maybe you can put this. We have access to that film on those lines. The viewers paid one-time connection charges that would be for the antenna and the cable, and then a monthly rental charges, whatever was there. Cable operator. So that's how cable television transmission happened in the early 90s and continued for quite a long time. DTH is direct to home. It is the receiving of satellite signals directly to the television set and direct broadcast happening. So you do away with, sort of antenna. Now what you have is mostly DTH at home. The circular sort of an antenna that is placed. This new generation satellite TV signal reaches every home through a small circular antenna. In 1994, Philips Communication of USA started the DTH services called the DTH. DTH broadcasting uses the upper portion of KO band transformation. KO band transformers are the transmission devices in the satellite to send hundreds of channels for downlinking on Earth. Okay, that's how you can have so many, TV channels reach to your own television. Earlier, that was not the case. We would have only 5 or 6 channels, and I'm talking about the television programming in the 1990s. You have max 10 channels. Now you have more than 500 channels at your disposal. The Indian government permitted the reception and distribution of satellite television signals in November 2000. The Dish TV launched first DTH service in India in 2003. Indian National Broadcast Organization Prasar Bharati started DTH service in India in 2000. Later on private play, big players like Reliance, this G Television, Airtel, DTH Videocon, DTH, Tata Sky Sun Network expanded their service. These are the telecom, television come telecom service providers who offer DTH services, and that's how I think we have this connection. Next is IPTV. IPTV is Internet Protocol Television. In other words, this arrangement makes possible to send television signals to Internet instead of traditional satellite or cable. So we've got no connection with this sort of instruments. We used earlier, that was through the cable or through traditional satellite. It can make possible for a viewer to see the program or movie before it is fully downloaded. IPTV has 3 modes of service. First is live television, second is time shifted media, third is video on demand. So I'm sure you are into that. You are probably the first generation of IPTV users. You already be using them. Live television, the customer can view transmission or telecast. This is what happens most of the time. What we are doing right now could be, IPTV could be the first sort of product of this. What we are doing right now, some sort of an experiment. In time shifted television, the view can see the program after telecast, like subsequent day. In third category, the viewer can see it as it ends, as we desire. So that is the video on demand. You go and you want to watch something and straight away go and you could watch that. Your YouTube could be an extension of what video on demand works with. Then producing television news, I said that I would touch upon a bit although you are going to talk, you're going to study the history of television in details as a unit in the next semester. And again, about television news, you would have a full paper when you do broadcast reporting and editing. The idea is to run you through this. The television, unlike print media, which is newspaper based, journal, magazine based, um, follows audio-visual method, not like radio, which follows the auditory media, or not like newspapers follow the print. So this is mainly a combination of hearing and visual. Okay, you can hear. There is oral and there is visual media coming together. The preparation of script for TV is done with proper planning and proper thought. Time is taken, which is time taken. The visuals and sound collection from the site of incident are carefully mixed and finally formulated. So there's a lot that goes into the entire production cycle of how television. News bulletins prepared with TV, the TV with care because it is the visual and audio media. So one goes off, then not doesn't give you the happiness of yesterday as it is in the newspaper. Rather, it brings you up to date. That is what television did at this point in time, especially post cable television and post 24 hours news programming. You see with the DTH services that you can just switch channels and go to a particular news channel and you see uh, news updates coming from time to time. And preparing news bulletins for TV channel is done at a war. You are in a television newsroom, you are always on your toes. Because the fight is not just to produce great content. The fight is also produce content at the immediate basis. Immediacy or timeliness plays a very significant role in terms of prioritizing what kind of content is coming or what kind of content will be provided to your audience. News and visuals are collected from different places in the country and abroad, either through representatives or the elected media. Okay. There are people like that's how you see, right? The people who come on television and they give you a report from the ground or um, from the place where they are placed, where they have want to cover. So they give you sometimes they give you live coverage or sometimes that is recorded and get back to you. It's called PTC, camera. When you see a person, a journalist coming in front of the camera and uh, the situation, informing about what is happening. The importance of every news input is examined to decide as to what could be the headline or the inside news. It is done by the director of the news head or the news editor. And visual editor finally finalizes the transmission materials, whether materials are passed on. Visual editor finally offers uh, this material that is passed. Is the art of there is an art of preparing script for media. One has to understand the visual media before preparing the script, and that works slightly different when you look at different media. Okay, in print, writing style is different. For radio, the writing style is different. For television, writing style is different. When we are looking at the news content, how to convert that, whatever information you have received, the one whatever information as a journalist you have gathered, there's a lot to do with how you go about the scripting process. And it would be radically different. Always remember, only through good visual, you can establish some sort of a good relationship with your viewers because they are not here to listen or they're not here to read. They're here to speak and simultaneously hear. So your visual feed becomes extremely important. If the quality of the visual material is good, then it can possibly glue the viewer onto the screen. And sometimes they are forgiving, other times they are not. So visual creates a major difference between television and other media. Presenting materials not to the paper viewers can generate dislike. Soon you lose recognition as an organization. In comparison to other media, visual media can attract more viewers because of the visuals. Given how you are creating, how you're trying to tell the story. So what happens in television is visual storytelling takes precedence over any other thing. So if you think that you can think visually, or you have a capacity or a potential to think visually, um, so if you think, then you should think about television as a career. And I'm not just talking about news programming alone. You can think about entertainment as well. But that sense um, is important. But how do I tell the story? What goes into that frame? Why this should come first? And sometimes it comes natural. Sometimes you learn it as a trick of the trade. So it's not a perfect time. But there is a art and craft. As a matter of fact, news is into all the different values. That's how we can differentiate between X channel versus Y versus Z. So therefore, a certain channel over another one. That is because we like the way news is presented. Length of the story is not as long as print. As in print, media space is important in the local media and availability. But I told you the other day that how the space time ratio works. Newspaper, there is always a struggle for to have space in radio and television. There's always a time constraint. As transmission time is limited, the length of the story has to be limited. So you have to finish it off 2 minutes, 3 minutes max, and that and the importance of storing the media is different than that. Because it's circulating, right? Con, the news feed is constantly evolving, and then you see stories develop from one state, state to another in the span of hours, especially the ones which are of recurring importance. Electronic media brings the news instantly, where print media brings the news to the reader. Like print media, electronic media also tries to answer 5 Ws and 1 H, that is, who, what, where, why, who, and how. Every story must be able to follow the answers to this question. Once you figure that out, your basic news material is ready. And then you have to render visuals because the visuals have a large influence on the audiences or the viewers. Since visual tell the part of the story, the scripting part is shorter and easy. Like I told you the other day that if somebody is wearing a blue shirt, you don't write that that person is wearing a blue shirt. Instead, your camera tells the viewer that person is wearing a blue shirt. Yes. So you are getting more time to know add on more important elements or information that you want to show. The visuals of spoken words should happen in the team, not only in pronouncement, it should also be important to spelling as well. So how you are, how your pronunciation is, how you are speaking, how what is your communication skill becomes extremely significant. So many times, if you misspell, it can generate some other meaning as well. So you have to be very clear and show how you if you are a television news presenter, pertinent that you have good command over the language. And I'm not talking just about English, regional media as well. You need to understand what is written there, and you need to speak accordingly. Along with news, the person concerned is studied with name, face, personality, and rank. That's what happens. There's, some journalists will be, become extremely successful, and some journalists will stay mediocre, average throughout the career. Now, this happens because those people are better presenters, and those people have better analytical skills, and those people have better presentation skills. So eventually, what happens is the viewers tend to develop a subconscious relationship or connect with those who are coming on screen and trying to do this in the program. Since the visual is made authentic and reliable, the visuals are presented to the viewers with meticulous editing and refining is not possible in print. In print, whatever happens goes on. Once that's done, here what happens is it's quick. So the cycle of news production is quick. Then it has to be very thoroughly cut and refined, okay, with relatively lesser margin for error, say, and because there is a time crunch, the visual feeds are also trimmed quite a bit. The story prepared for visual media should be soothing to both eyes and ears. Okay, that is expected. that when you are preparing a news story, not just inform the audiences, it should give some sort of an aesthetic understanding of what the story is all about. News from every nook and corner of the world collected through reporters. Bites are the ones, the voice feeds that you take from your guests or while interviewing, statements connected to international news agencies are combined. That's the priority. What it means is news is collected and compiled from different sources. There are reporters' work, there are news bites, there are statements that are drawn in or information that are drawn in from news agencies who work globally, and all those things are compiled in a newsroom. That's how it works. The news head or the editor considers the importance of news. If there is in the newsroom, the discussion is also about materials that comes in. So he decides finally which items that are made headlines, which have to be given lesser importance in terms of priority of information. He discusses the matter directly or indirectly with the bulletin way producing that particular bulletin, if it's a 3 p.m. bulletin or if it's a 7 p.m. bulletin. That before producing that content, the discussion happens. Then the visual editor takes out the useful visuals and edits them. So in a 30-minute cycle, let's say in a 30-minute cycle, there are 10 stories that should go. Which 10 stories should go and what is the sequencing, what is the order, and how they should be edited. Is there scope for the 11th story? Those sort of decisions are taken in the newsroom. The newsroom processing is also done under full cooperation of all sections of the newsroom, including the time presenter, telecast around and the program or so all of them should be on the same page, otherwise there could be chaos. Newsroom activity is dependent on many technical processes. We start with the camera visuals are preserved. The computer, the editor connects a particular news audio to the concerned visual along with the name of the story, date, reporter's name, and place of information. Because stories are being collected from different places, it could be a chaos if the reporter has gone where and what sort of news story it is, what is the day, what is the time of it. So you have all those things recorded and documented properly so that arrangement could be done. It's very important to arrange this sort of stories because you need to follow that news cycle. The ingest room. What is the ingest room? Ingest room is where all the materials come. I mean, the captured materials, whatever the cameraman has captured, it comes there, and where the recording process happens, a news channel, and they are fully equipped with professional use equipment. Okay, so last slide. What are the different types of television production? The TV programs are produced as per the requirement of the channel. Okay, channels could be entertainment channels, channels could be news channels, depending on how it is. It actually differentiates. It is actually different from that transmitted by radio programs and cinemas, those auditory or audiovisual representation. Even television production is different from cinematography in many ways, like cinema production. Okay? When you look at film, there is scope for takes and those kind of things. That there, it's very planned. The kind of visuals that are created on in television, in cinema is very different than that of the process I'm talking about. Is different than that of news or that of other entertainment programs that come to television. So the repeat scope is less. It's like theater. What you do is you give one take, maximum 2 takes. In theater, you don't even get 2 takes. You just have 1 take. In such sort of a scenario, if you don't have thorough professionals who go out and who are seasoned professionals, or those who have years of experiences, it becomes tough kind of production. So even the grammar is slightly different. Like we say that the television grammar is more to do with close-ups, right? Whereas in cinema, you can see that you have a lot of wide shots that are used to establish the location and so forth. But in television, the audiences or the viewers are trained to look at a smaller screen where the close-ups are more intimate visuals makes sense. So you shoot accordingly. So the three stages of production, pre-production, production, and final production, are what we understand as the post-production. Pre-production is the preliminary stage of production, like the site of collection of news, the rough cut, and then making the team ready to reach on time and work efficiently. You make your hand notes, you go interview people, try to do a bit of research, what we understand as the recce, go to location and see, which is the same thing that a print media journalist would also do. So basically gathering the information. Then the production, the actual shooting. Once you have gathered those things, then you decide, okay, what kind of camera, what kind of lenses. If it is a fixed camera, fixed lens, then where should you stand in to get the best shot possible, so that it establishes where you are and whatever you want to say. And then, apart from taking those key shots that are important, tell that story, then taking bites from key personalities who are involved. When you talk about key personalities, not necessarily celebrities or those people who are important. Those people who are important to that particular story. There is a fire breakout that has happened. The survivors or those people who witnessed that incident are key personalities at that point in time. So you have to start taking bites from them, so that the story overall is, um, you know, a complete roundabout content closure. Then the last part is the final stage of production, which is called the post-production. In this case, all the pictures what by collected from the field are assembled and thoroughly um, editable. They go through that process of whatever requirement are there, and they're always complemented with graphics and made to fit transmit in the news channel. Many times you'll see that, right? So people create infographics, people create visual feeds. So overall, try and understand that the news production cycle follows this thing of connecting and establishing relationships with the audiences. How do you fully inform the audience about a particular story? So you come up with different styles and designs and um, to inform people. That's why you would see the older programs related to weather forecast, and now how it is done. You can see have difference of how infographics were used earlier. So, and also understand that these three stages are extremely crucial. So it's not like that you can do away with one and uh, manage it further. So once all these materials are ready, this thing is taken to the anchors or the presenter, and then they prepare their scripts accordingly, and then the program goes live or is recorded. Remember, the language of television production, especially television news, has to be kept simple for all kind of viewers, because um, unlike newspaper, they cannot go back. In radio and television, there is no scope to go back to whatever the presenter has said or informed about. And this is crucial because remember, your job as a journalist is to inform people of it. So whatever you're saying must guide people to get into that information cycle. Okay? So I would stop here. What more I wanted to talk about communication and journalism.